Hello and welcome to another ESA Day School video. We're still working on CGC prep. Also, I apologize that this video took so long. I got a sinus infection and did not have much of a voice. So she's been taking treats kind of roughly from me the past 2 sessions. Good enthusiasm, like that, but it's just a little much. So I wanted to work on Leave It today. I don't know if she knows a Leave It or not, but in this stage of the training, I don't use words anyway. It's kind of just a mind game. A good one to get them to slow down and stop and think instead of just chomping for food. So I'm offering one piece of food in a closed hand at first, and then once she stops trying to get it, she gets that piece of food. And then when I progress, I will open my hand so she can have the visual of the food. But if she goes for the food, I close my hand. So you'll see the moment that she doesn't go for it, I say yes, and then bring the piece of food to her mouth. At this stage, you can either reward with the food that you are not letting her have, or you can get another piece of food in your other hand and reward her with that. But I'm making it very obvious when it is time to eat that piece of food by saying the word yes and then bringing it straight to her mouth. And that's what I'm doing there, is throwing a piece of food out to reward her versus letting her have the one in my hand. And then the next step is putting the piece of food on the floor and covering it with your hand. And then at that stage, I would recommend not letting her have the one on the floor, because typically what we would ask them to leave on the floor, we won't let them have. And then I wanted to work on some eye contact. I also like eye contact when I work on Leave It, because if they leave the thing and then also look at me, I can give them direction on what to do, whether they can have it or not, or if I have a thing to trade. So leave the thing on the floor, but here's a thing that you might like a little bit better. So I'm just holding a piece of food out and just waiting until she looks at me and then saying yes, bringing the food to my face, and then bringing it straight to her. I bring it towards my face so that she doesn't feel the need to break that eye contact to then look at the piece of food coming to her. And I did that sitting down and I did that standing up, and she got it pretty quickly. And then eventually, if you want, you can put a cue to the eye contact, so a verbal cue or a physical cue. But I just introduced it today, and then we worked on down, just coming along very nicely. So at this moment, the hand cue is a closed fist, pretty close to the ground. Eventually, we won't have to get so close to the ground, but we'll work on fading that away. What you could start doing now is pairing the action with the word down. If you ever want her to be verbal, I would wait until she's actually in the process of laying down to say the word down, or when she's already down and you're feeding her, say good down, just to start associating the word with that action. And be sure to notice that I'm rewarding with a piece of food that is not in the hand cue hand. I don't want her to think that there's a piece of food in there anymore. I want her to see it as a hand cue, not as a food lure. And we added a stay to our sit command, which she picked up very quickly. So I don't know if she knows this or not, or if it's a different word. I have the leash on her just in case. Some dogs, when you say no at a distance, they like to dart off. So I like to have a leash there just for a little bit more control of the situation. But I didn't have to use it at all, so she was great. So I'm asking her to sit, rewarding her, putting a hand out, saying stay in a very firm, calm tone, not saying anything as I take a step or two back. Unless she breaks her sit, then I walk back to her. I just gently say no and walk back, and that usually gets her to sit again. And then I reward her when I get back. I don't ever want to do anything at a distance that is enticing at this moment, since we just started. So I don't want to start offering the food before I get to her or saying anything like good girl at a distance. I want to make it really easy for her to stay there. And I always want to reward the sit. And then I throw in some sits that don't have a stay so that she knows that sit doesn't automatically mean you have to stay wherever you are now. And now that we're adding a stay command, we need to have a release command. So if you have one, please let me know. But today I just used free and she seemed to understand. And you can see at this point that when I asked her to stay, she kind of sits back a little bit, saying that she understands that she's not moving for a moment. Then I got my dog out and had him down. And then did some loose leash walking with Issa. And she did great. She was interested but re-engaged with me very quickly. So just giving her a treat whenever she engages with me versus the other dog. See, I have a nice loose leash up until she tries to go towards my dog. Then the leash goes tight for a moment, but she releases that leash pressure. And then I add some movement to my dog to see if that distracts her at all, which it totally does not. So as he moves around, I reward her for not getting distracted. But as always, she did just wonderful. If there's ever anything that you want to ask about or comment on, please do so. Thank you.